Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equities Story. I'm here with the Wolf, and as per the beautiful disclaimer you can see here, this is obviously just general share advice and not personal advice. How are you doing, Wolfie? Did you have a good weekend?
I had a good weekend, but with a thought to Ukraine, of course, because
Well, you're being Polish. Have you been sort of practicing your drills, getting ready to defend your homeland? Is um, anything? Have you bought a green top at least?
no, I haven't. But I am genuinely worried for the region over there, the stability of the region. So it's not going to be, if it does happen, it's probably going to cost a lot of lives, which is not good.
No, it does not good, Wolf. Uh, um, Uh, let us hope it doesn't happen, right?
Anyway, the markets are, I think, reflecting that they are scared, right? That's why they're weak at the moment.
Yeah, definitely, and definitely looking down what
Mm-hmm.
0.58%.
Yep.
Um, Wolf, a little bit. Can I just talk about Einstein's first? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh, we obviously, because of the issues in Ukraine and Russia, we went for a gold stock. Yeah, just a little bit of a hedge, right? The reason we went for AGG, it's a big player. I think it's about a sort of $10 billion company.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got some. You know, I think they got affected like a lot of gold companies last year, Wolf, with the COVID shutdowns and COVID. That hopefully for them is now reopening, so they can get production back online.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they made a very interesting purchase in America with the I think the Canvas it's called project, which for them looks interesting. So, the few things to like about it, and I think the price action last week was very, very good for the gold stock. So we've really tried to pick maybe I think the best chart out of these gold players, and certainly Anglo Gold has it. If and let's hope there isn't war, but if there is war, uh, you know, one thing about this stock, it can really trend and it can move pretty hard, and it
Mm-hmm.
can move pretty hard fairly fast. So that's why we've gone for that.
Mm-hmm.
There were two other stocks which were, I thought, I like them, Wolf. Firstly, obviously, CAA,
Mm-hmm.
uh, very, very cheap with an excellent dividend. It had a lovely buy signal. Now, hasn't quite gone through, so I think there's opportunity for there. If people, want to get into a good dividend play that looks like it's going to go higher. And again, AAC, so Australian Agriculture. Wolf, the breakout last week was excellent,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this looks like it could go on with it. Now, we were talking earlier this morning about some of these agricultural plays. So, I mean, we got obviously in that group, we got GNC, which is trending very well. We've got Elders. Um, what you're hearing is a lot of positivity in this sector. Is that not correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So the conditions have, first of all, I'm obviously very positive with them, and the farming from my agri point of view, it looks like the farming conditions are, I suppose, probably best they have been for some time. So you would expect a lot of these companies to do very well over the next few months at the very least, right? Now, I don't know how long these conditions will last for, because nature in general is unpredictable. But from what I've saw last couple of days on the news, some of the interviews, some of the things, it's really the farmers are fairly happy at the moment. So if that's the case, let's hope the conditions continue, because it is a very important part of Australian economy, and it does help us also with inflation issues, because food inflation can be huge.
Thanks, Wolfie, for that. Now, Wolfie, we've got to go for a number of stocks, and we've actually had a lot more that we've gone through earlier today. We've culled a lot, which we don't like the chart. So we're trying to
Yeah.
concentrate on ones where we see some sort of positivity.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, one of those we should have culled, but we haven't. But we're going to talk about it's A2 Milk, because it's such a sort of it was a real darling of the markets for the last 3 or 4 years that has been totally destroyed. Um, and again, the chart's not showing me that announcement or the price action so far, Wolf. It's
Mm.
not showing me that's good enough to change direction yet. So, what was your take?
No, look, I'm glad we're talking about this, because this has, like you said, there's been a market darling, and a lot of people saying, "Is it time to get back in yet?" And the answer is still no. If you look at the results today, there are maybe some green shoots popping up. And one of those, and that's why the market's probably rewarding today, is that there's stability happening in the business now. So, and they also hit their own guidance. So that's a bonus, because it hasn't been like that for the last 2 years. So from that point of view, Dave, I think maybe there's at least some floor around $5, but it's way too early. One announcement, and it wasn't great, but at least there was some positive sentences in there. So yeah, we'll probably revisit this in 6 months' time.
Thanks, Wolf. Yeah, like technically it does look good. Now, ALU as well, Wolf, technically looking very, very, very weak at the moment. Now, I wouldn't. Yeah, look at that daily. That is not. And the announcement not too bad, right?
No, I mean it's recovering beautifully, right, from its previous issues with COVID and everything else. So from the financial fundamental point of view, you think to yourself, okay, well, they are coming out of a difficult period, and there's some good stuff in there, and maybe slightly something weak stuff in there. But generally speaking, I think I was more positive than negative on the report. However, two things that you got to take into account, and that's why it's probably falling. So first of all, it's still not expensive, 92 times. So let's say today, I think the EPS was up about 30%. So even with 30% growth in 2022, there's still going to be roughly about 60 times earnings, Dave, which is too expensive for Altium, right? So they have to come back. And the outlook is still, I still think it's unknown quantity at this stage. So possibly the market right now, we've got brink of a war. We've got this whole market darling tech space being re-rated. So you'd want to stay away from the moment until we see stability. But I like this story, so I just need to wait for the right moment. So patience is the key.
And what would you say something like Altium would be worth 20 times?
No, look, I'm happy to pay 30 times for it. The old days, the quality stocks you'd pay 30 times for, right? The old days, before everything doubled, everything went to 60 times plus.
So that means you'd be looking to buy this at $15?
Yeah. Look, I'd love to back at $15. I think first look would be one around the 25, just to see where they're at, see what sort of growth they've got. That'll be the first look, what's happening there. And then if it's still if the market's still saying it's too expensive, then probably the $20, right? Revisit. But we'll see. You just don't know what the market will say here with this.
Well, we don't buy things on the trend lines anyway. But but what you're saying, Wolf, get out of it, because this could go down to 15.
Yeah, look at this. There's obviously a possibility, right? Might be remote, but there's a possibility if the re-rating is severe on some of these stories. And I don't know whether the market wants to play this at 30 times earnings. Maybe they're happy to leave it at 50 times with this change. But we'll see.
Yeah, I wouldn't be rolling the dice in this market.
No, I certainly would. That's why we're gonna just wait to see where things happen.
Wolf, SLR, Silver Lake, NPAT 44.5 million. They're making some money still, these little gold companies, aren't they?
They should. I mean, conditions are still very positive. The gold has been actually at highly elevated levels for at least 12 months, Dave. So there's no excuses for any gold player not to make money.
Right. Yeah. Listen, the chart looks very good, and arguably could go on with it, or should do.
Yep.
Wolf, Janison, come back down to trend. So, a nibble there, or do you think it's looking expensive?
Tech stocks, Dave. Probably the last on my list to nibble on. Tech stocks right now. It's just too much volatility, too much uncertainty, and are we at the start, or where are we in the cycle of re-rating? So I'm just reluctant to really have a strong view on the tech stocks and where they might end up. So while I'm holding a few, not many, a few above trend lines, right? I'm certainly not rushing to nibble on these things.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was reasonable growth for them.
This is the thing, Dave. Some of them are coming up with some nice numbers, right? But they keep falling.
Let's have a look at ABB.
Mm-hmm.
Now the price action technically hasn't been too bad with this, Wolf. It's come down, it's held trend,
Mm-hmm.
and it's bounced back up. What's your take on ABB? Because I know Aussie Broadband, you sort of liked the story for a while.
I do like the story, and look again, it shows the numbers today in today's results. They are eating into that market share, and that's the key. That's what the whole game is about. Subscriber numbers are growing. We've got a big jump in revenues and a big improvement in EBITDA. So at the end of the day, they are ticking boxes. But for me, again, I'm reluctant to just get into these sort of stories at this stage. If I'm in there, I'll probably still hold, but am I brave enough to go in there at the moment? Probably not. I'd just give it another week or two, see how this all pans out.
It's interesting with 45% growth, and yeah, the market's sort of okay with it at the moment, but
Exactly.
just doesn't want to take it higher, does it?
No.
Wolf, SUL,
Mm-hmm.
which is in one of our dividend stocks, and decided to break down below trend line. So it's a dividend stock for us, so it's on the 21. We're happy to sort of wear that as long as you're happy fundamentally the story's still intact.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, the thing is, let's check it on the monthly, right? That's probably a better look through on these dividend stocks. It's messy. Remember, the retailers at the moment, right, are fairly messy with the reporting because they had a pretty first crappy year with COVID. Then they had a great year with the second year of COVID, and now reality is coming back to home to roost, right, where the honeymoon's over for some of these retailers. So it's very messy from one year to the next. They're almost like jumping, say, they're sort of comparing it from last year. They're comparing it to 2020, what actually happened. So look, the numbers are okay. They grew from 2020, but they went backwards on 2021. It's still like dividend stocks. I'm still okay with it. They're still making a profit. Yeah, they've chopped the dividend, but most of them will. They were at elevated levels anyway at 10, 11%. So coming back to what, 7, 8%, I'm still very, very happy with that.
So yeah, there's still a decent dividend for those people who are reliant on that dividend.
Mm-hmm.
Wolf, Telstra.
Yes.
Again, holding trend reasonably well.
Mm.
What do you make of their announcement they put out today?
Yeah, I think they had a sharing of infrastructure with TPG. Positive for both, I suppose. At the end of the day, I'm still happy with the story of Telstra. They actually, when you look through again, a very messy report, the positive outweigh the negatives in there, and they are actually changing. So still hold.
Wolf, all the mayhem.
Mm-hmm.
We still need our shavers, don't we? So, except you don't. Yeah.
No, I see. I don't shave at all.
I don't, except people at Equity Story there. But I mean, we got here again another low P stock, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Trading got not. I think trading around 8 times, Wolf, with a dividend of 7%.
Yeah, I've got 10 grossed up, so that's pretty good.
Right, so we've got another dividend play,
Mm-hmm.
inexpensive,
Mm-hmm.
producing decent results.
They are, but it's not the most quality business around. Very niche shaving business. Yes, we all need shavers and so on, but how many shavers do we need?
No.
So I don't know. Is the honeymoon going to be over?
You are the worst person to ask that. Like,
yeah, it's true.
normal people who shave, not like me and you, actually do need shavers. So it's a big industry worldwide, Wolf. People.
Look, it is. I'm not saying it isn't, but the question is the honeymoon over for those guys as well? I mean, yeah, they come up with a decent result today. That's why it's still up above trend. And look, if you're in it, of course, hold it because you've got a cheap story and you've got a great dividend yield. So that at least you can probably maybe make out another 6 to 12 months out of that. So I'm happy, with that. I'm still happy to be a holder if I'm in it. But would I be buying it for the future? I'm not so sure. Anyway, look, it's decent. It's decent.
Well, it's just for a dividend. It's not. It's like in difficult times like this, it's it's acceptable, right?
Well, this is what the market should be looking at, these sort of stories, because it's cheap and it's giving a good dividend, and that's probably why it's holding still up very well.
Right, SHL, which a bit of a fall from grace recently, Wolf. Obviously not, not doing all the COVID testing like it was before.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back down. What's your take on SHL? Because this is in your 21 stocks that you have, Wolf. So maybe I will put this on a monthly so we can have a look. Yeah, it just looks like it's coming back down to that sort of 33 level, doesn't it?
Yeah, and fair enough. I mean, look at the run, the COVID run that it had from 2020 to 2022. That could easily come back to $30, Dave.
Yeah.
But am I worried about it? No. It's just been a very abnormal period for them, and it was for the traders out there to make some money. But now it's probably going to revert back to its old ways, with just a steady incline. What we saw from 2010, 2019, 20, right? So we went from about $10 to $30. That's what I'm expecting over the next 10 years, Dave. So look, I'll probably be looking at a nibble around the 33 mark, maybe between the 30 and 33 mark.
Thanks for that, Wolf. ADH, again, gave us a warning back here when it started breaking trend and down another 5% on today's announcement, Wolf.
Honeymoon is over for these guys. That's all you can say.
All right, let's have a look at EVT. So, this price action is starting to look better. Event hospitality, Wolf, whatever, it should be back on now. Hopefully, with the masks, everyone's throwing away their masks.
This is the opposite, isn't it, to the retailer?
Yeah.
So this is the honeymoon is just about to begin. You're going on your honeymoon right now. You should be looking at these sort of stories, I'd say.
Definitely, and I think the price action looks very, very good. So if you're in that, you definitely, I think, be holding it. Now let's talk about Dicker Data because again, they've traded particularly well in sort of a little bit of a rough time. Price action last week was excellent. Charts looking good, Wolf. What did you make of this acquisition they've done?
Interesting. Hills themselves haven't gone great at all, right? They've been fumbling around for the last 10 years at least. So we'll see what Dicker Data can do with these assets of Hills. Look, Dicker Data is extremely well run and astute with everything they do through navigating through COVID to acquisitions, etc., etc. So I think they know what they're doing here. So I'm going to back them. And if you're in it, it's definitely still a hold. We'll see how the market reacts to the acquisition.
All right, let's talk about AGL, Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Jumping up on potential takeover. Is it opportunistic? Is it going to happen? What's your?
I think they've already rejected it straight off the bat.
Well, they have rejected it, but do you think that they'll come back with a hybrid?
I think it's a very interesting, isn't it? In Cannon Brooks, right, which he's obviously part of the team management. We've got our own little Elon Musk, and that's him, right? So he's very active, doesn't mind having a word, and if he can see he can do something, he will do it. So this is his activism, by the way. I'd say he's jolting AGL into action more than anything else, by stating all these things that it should be closed earlier. This is what often with Brookfield it's about. So while they didn't give a big premium to the previous price, I think at least it's put a big spotlight on AGL management and the whole sector, right? So I'm applauding him. I mean, he's obviously trying to do the right thing here by the looks of things. Will the actual bid win out in the end? I'm not so sure, Dave. But we'll see. Look, I love the fact that he's done that. Great.
Okay, would you buy it?
It's a good question. Look, I'm not a great player of takeovers because anything can happen, right? So they can possibly walk away and it goes back to $7. Or they might come up with a bigger bid. I don't know. So it's just too difficult for me to say yes. Am I interested in AGL right now? No. So probably the answer is no.
All right. Let's have a look at two stories Ample, ALD, and I put them in the same basket, VEA, Wolf.
Mhm.
Both stories sort of holding above trend. They haven't quite gone on with it.
Mhm.
Um, both put out announcements today, slightly down, but certainly they're in the right space at the moment.
They are, they're in the rising fuel prices business, which is the petrol stations. So ALD and Viva are doing very, very well at the moment, I think. Saying that, that could change any day. If the conflict doesn't go ahead, you can see the oil price possibly retreating, and maybe the share prices here will be under pressure. But look, it's a trade more than anything else. So if you can see, Dave, I'm going to probably leave it to you. If you can see a trade in this, go for it. Otherwise, I think the only thing is ALD. We've got it as a possible dividend play. Is that right? Is that what we talked about it previously? Let me just double check. No, we didn't. So I don't know. I think it was trading more than anything else with ALD.
Yeah,
It was a trade, wasn't on the oil price. That's what it was.
yeah,
So I'm going to leave it to you, both of them as a trade, nothing else.
yeah. Not yet.
Okay.
So Wolf, IGO, how we price action is a little bit funny. So there's talk about them uh, doing an acquisition of big copper mine.
Yeah, CSA copper mine. I think it's in New South Wales, Broken Hill. Huge mine. It's been around for ages, Dave, ages. But then again, IGO has got a great track record in extending the life of mines for a long time, right? So interesting. I'll tell you what, I'd rather do a DVP and Bill Beeman, buy it on a cheap out of the administrator than buying a full price for it.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see that the market's obviously expecting, or has been expecting another race coming out of
Yeah,
IGO.
exactly. So
And
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'd be doing that. Honestly, I definitely prefer the DVP option right now.
well, let's have a look at DVP. So again, he's come on. Now this stock had a strong move up earlier, Wolf. It's come back. Is it
Opportunity and a half. Opportunity
opportunity?
and a half. Because they've actually raised higher than their price was. I mean, that's unprecedented, but it just shows how well received that acquisition was by the market, that they were prepared to pay higher prices on the capital raise than actual share price. So what an opportunity if anyone doesn't have it. If they're looking for a commodity story with incredible management and a possible long-term future, this is it.
So with this nice little pullback we've had this morning around that $3.39, you're a long-term buyer, are you?
Yeah, but again, if you're gonna do it in a week's time, if it's trading say $3 or below, don't get too I don't know frustrated with it, because the market could be like that. If there's a war, it could happen quite easily. We're looking for that long term. So in 6 months' time, if you're buying today, you revisit it in 6 months' time and say, okay, where are we now at the moment? How is Bill Beeman looking at now? And the thing is, it's not going to be the only acquisition. I'm sure there'll be others coming through. So he's building a powerhouse, I suppose, in this space. Definitely want to back him. You definitely want to back him.
Wolf, Z1P going lower and lower and lower. It's talk about sort of falling knives. This is like a shooting star falling. Oh, I know it's pretty hard, isn't it?
Yep. And we gave it plenty of time, didn't we? Last line of defense was for us was $6, and that was it. So we've saved a lot of money for ourselves, but we got to listen to the market. If we didn't listen to the market, it would be in dire straits with Z1P. They're still talking to Sezzle for a merger, and I think it's a great thing to do. I think that they need to be a rationalization of that space. So, yeah.
Wolf, lastly, but not least, OZL. So we're talking about sort of maybe gold plays, gold and copper plays doing reasonably well. So I just get the OZL chart. It is a good-looking chart. What did you make of today's announcement?
Yeah, look, again, decent, and they all should be decent in that space, because they had a pretty good run over the last 6-12 months with the commodity prices. And if you are liking gold, if you're liking copper, you get the best of both worlds here, Dave, with OZL. So I'm thinking, again, if you believe in the next 12 months going to be quite good for those two commodities, you're in.
Well, 150% increase in net profit after tax is not too bad, is it?
Not too shabby, is it?
Um, Wolf, brilliant. Listen, on that note, I'd like to thank you. We're not sort of putting out any official trades today, but certainly we are. You know, I think OZL is looking good. DVP, like you said, you know, if you can nibble away at this on weakness, excellent. One we liked, obviously gold. You know, AGG looks pretty good, and some out of Einstein's like we spoke about earlier. CAA Capral looks good, as
Mhm.
does AAC,
Yeah.
Australian Agriculture. On that note, Wolfie, hopefully things are okay. I think Putin. The last we've heard is that Macron is talking, trying to get them to the table. That might be a last hope to have peace in our time. So
Yeah, maybe
hopefully,
maybe he will wine him and dine him with lots of nice French wine and maybe some frog's legs.
all right. On that note, thanks, Wolfie. Have a good day, champion.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See you
Bye.
guys.
Bye.